Two worlds recently collided when I was looking for something to watch over lunch, and I stumbled across a video called Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist. If you're a frequent viewer of my channel, you'll know that I love books, and especially classics, but what you might not know is that I also love Minecraft. So I watched this entire 40-minute video absolutely engrossed the entire time, and by the end of it, I had so many questions. And checking the comments led to even more questions. Why was everybody talking about something called the King in Yellow? It wasn't explicitly mentioned in the video or the description, but it seemed to be something that everyone knew about. Everyone except for me. So I did a little bit of digging and I found out that this Minecraft video was heavily inspired by an 1895 collection of gothic horror short stories called The King in Yellow. And that completely blew my mind. However, when I tried to find something that explained exactly what The King in Yellow was, I did not find anything great. Some people were talking about H.P. Lovecraft, who didn't actually write the original book. Some people were talking about a fictional play that drove you insane. Other people were talking about a fictional king that drove you insane. There were too many people saying too many different things, so I decided I would go straight to the source and read the original book from 1895. And luckily for me, it's so old that it's in the public domain now, so I can read it right here on the internet. First though, let me walk you through the events from Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist that I think are important.
Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. At the crossroads, don't. At the crossroads, don't. At the crossroads.
Pretty much, don't turn left at the crossroads. Also, I'm gonna put a spoiler warning here. If you have any interest in watching this video, pause this one and come back when you're done with it, because it is worth the time. Trust me. Otherwise, I'll continue. Okay, the story here is that this guy Avery found a laptop in a storage locker with Minecraft pre-installed. There was a world already created on this Minecraft account, and in it was this mysterious book in an otherwise normal looking mine. But as it turns out, Avery's inventory for a split second is actually a cipher that leads you to a Google Drive folder, and that has the real good stuff. In these videos, you learn about the Minecraft player Durlord, who is the one that actually downloaded Minecraft to this computer, which was originally his. But his story is that when he downloaded Minecraft in the first place, this world was already pre-created. Basically then, you're just following Durlord as he explores this world, finding weirder and weirder stuff until...
I'm not scared of a game.
An impressively suspenseful scene for a Minecraft video. My heart was actually racing the first time I watched this, like no joke, but I am known to be a scaredy cat. From here, it becomes a story about Durlord trying to escape from this mysterious entity that keeps following him. He uses some very clever tactics, but at the end of the day, it seems like he ends up right where the entity wanted to take him. These yellow gates, behind which something terrifying is hiding. He runs away, and you find out that he was the one that wrote the book to warn Avery, and the video ends. Very mysterious, right? Well, there's a lot to read into here, okay? Believe it or not. First, you gotta read into the comments. This is where I found out about the King in Yellow. And I also learned that the assumption at the end is that Durlord either saw the King in Yellow himself or read enough of the play to be driven insane. And in his final moments of clarity, he wrote a warning and stored his computer away in a locker. And the reason, allegedly, that he knew to warn Avery is that the King in Yellow, either the being or the play, gives you some kind of ultimate cosmic knowledge. And that is what drives you insane. That information makes parts of the video make more sense, actually. Why there's so much yellow in this abandoned city, why someone was writing about a king, and why the people of the city were trying to summon him to gain that cosmic knowledge. But what is this city? What is the King in Yellow? Does a king actually exist, or is it just a piece of writing? Is there any significance to all of these trees, or this poem? Why does Durlord's journey go the way it does? Maybe the answer lies in the source material. So let's investigate. Alright team, I've got the King in Yellow up on my computer and a Capri Sun. Try to finish this first story before Survivor comes on at 7. That's the goal. Alright, I'm officially done with the first story, and man is this book outdated. I know it's from 1895, but this guy has some poor takes. I can't really tell if it's a character or if it's just a reflection of the author's beliefs, but the first 2.5 pages are just like racism right in your face. It was written in 1895, but it takes place in the 1920s. It's like a utopian future. It's the perfect world to him because the US government has removed all indigenous people, all African Americans. And I don't know if he's trying to like paint this character that's narrating as a bad person, or if he genuinely is like, this is his belief. So that was really off-putting. I don't know why the story had to start like that. But another great thing the government has done in this world is create these little public chambers where you can go in and die if you want to. It's just another messed up aspect of this book. I think there's a quote that's like, yeah, sometimes the burden of existence is too heavy for some people, and it's honestly better for the rest of us if they just go die. Another terrible take. Like, nobody should die. Everybody is better off if everybody survives, in my opinion. In most people's opinion, I would think. That's all besides the point, though. So you get this extremely racist world building, and then you move on into the story. There's just this guy, he fell off of his horse like 4 years ago, and he bonked his head. And since it was, the late 19th century, they put him in an insane asylum just to make sure. They let him out, though. But now he goes through life. He doesn't do any of the stuff he used to do. He doesn't like any of the stuff he used to like. He read The King in Yellow, this play that has been banned all across the world. So here's where the lore comes in, right? He reads the first act, and then he realizes he probably shouldn't read the second act. The entire world knows that reading the second act is a bad thing to do. It's what drives people crazy. So he throws it in the fire, but then he fishes it back out and he reads the second act. From there, it all just kind of spirals. He believes the King in Yellow is real. He believes that Carcosa is real, which is where the play takes place. He's in cahoots with this old man who is this repairer of reputations. He has people come and pay him money so that he can repair their reputations. And the old man has also written this history. The history comes all the way from ancient Carcosa with the King in Yellow himself. There's like a lineage, a royal family here. It comes all the way down to modern day to our main character. His name is Hildred. Hildred is actually not the heir to the throne. It's his cousin, according to this history that this crazy old man wrote. So Hildred now believes that he needs to kill his cousin in order to regain the throne. Spoiler alert again, if you want to read this book, go read it. But what happens at the end of this story is that Hildred tries to kill his cousin, and so he's like, it's too late for you. Just let me kill you or you go into exile. I already killed my doctor that called me insane, and now it's your turn. And so our main character is taken into custody, goes back to the insane asylum, and then dies. What did I learn about the King in Yellow from this? From what I can figure, Carcosa might be this village from the Minecraft video, and the King in Yellow was the ruler. So when Hildred was motivated to read this story, that was like in the Minecraft video when the main character was motivated to keep exploring. That makes sense, like the thing that he saw behind those gates was probably just like the gist of Act 2. The crazy old man, while he is a crazy old man, because he read The King in Yellow, he knew a lot of stuff that he would not have been able to know otherwise. So that really solidifies the theory that reading Act 2 of The King in Yellow gives you like infinite knowledge, but it also drives you crazy. There you go, that's what we've learned. Carcosa is the kingdom. Hastur is the King in Yellow. There are some lakes in Carcosa. There are 2 suns. There are black stars. It's a freaky place. Okay, time for story 2. I've got my mood lighting on. I've got a bowl of cereal, and I've got to read these last short stories. Let's go. Okay, that one wasn't even about the Yellow King at all. There's kind of a one-off thing where the main character just reads the Yellow King, just a couple scenes from the first act, and then it's not mentioned again. I think it makes him sick for a couple weeks, but that's it. Like, he just comes down with something. The story's just about kind of a love triangle between 2 artists, and then one of them is married, but these 2 are also in love. He discovers this substance, this liquid, that if you put something in it, it just turns into a beautiful statue. Maybe the assumption is that his wife read The King in Yellow and was driven insane, so she jumps into a vat of this stuff, turns into a statue, and there's a whole Romeo and Juliet situation where her husband, he kills himself because he's lost the love of his life, and then he leaves everything to the other artist. Then he realizes, oh my gosh, the statue thing is only temporary, it just hibernates you. And then he goes and he finds the guy's wife. She's alive, she's okay, and that's where the story ends. Definitely nothing to do with that Minecraft video. This next one's called The Yellow Sign. Hopefully we learn a little bit more from that, so let's get going. Third story, done. This one kind of wrapped it up nicely. It was just about an artist And then the nude model that he works with all the time, the artist keeps seeing this guy, this weird, freaky, pale, gross looking guy. The model starts seeing him too. Some kid talks to the artist and he was like, yeah, that guy freaked me out, so I tried to beat him up, but when I did, his finger came off in my hand, and he was so squishy and gross. Later, the guy is like murmuring to himself or to the artist. He says, have you found the yellow sign? Like over and over again. The model gives the artist this black ring, and it's got this yellow symbol on it. The play, The King in Yellow, appears in his house, and the model reads it, and she goes all quiet and scared. Then he realizes it was the yellow sign all along, and that creepy guy comes in, kills them both. But they find the model dead, and then the creepy guy, they find his body too, and then they're like, wow, this guy's been dead for months. How did this crime scene even occur? So that's freaky. It's like the King in Yellow sends different little soldiers into the world to get people to read the play and get driven insane. That really goes into searching for a world that doesn't exist, and I'll tell you why. It's the next morning. I finished those 3 stories, but apparently there's a 4th short story in this book about the King in Yellow. There are 9 short stories and also like a little collection of poems in this book, but there are only 4 short stories that are actually about the King in Yellow. But in my version that I found online, only 3 of those stories were there, which is kind of like scary. So I'm a little scared that this 4th short story might have been removed because it drives people insane. I did find a version online and that does have the 4th story, so I am gonna read it because I think this story is actually the most important story. So I'm gonna risk my sanity for you guys, and I'll let you know what I learned from this. Wish me luck. If I go crazy, that's on you. Let's read. Okay, that one was pretty good. It was only like 17 pages, but pretty much this guy has been reading The King in Yellow, and so he's been feeling a little sad. Then he goes to church, and then he starts to notice that the organ is sounding a little more evil today. Turns out he's getting death glares from the organ player. He decides to leave in the middle of the service. He's getting followed by this organ player. He gets cornered. The organ player's about to get him, and then he wakes up. He fell asleep during the sermon. The entire world just melts away, and he wakes up in Carcosa. Let me just see what it says. And now, far away, over leagues of tossing cloud waves, I saw the moon dripping with spray, and beyond the towers of a Carcosa rose behind the moon. Death and the awful abode of lost souls, whither my weakness long ago had sent him, had changed him for every other eye but mine. And now I heard his voice, rising, swelling, thundering through the flaring light. And as I fell, the radiance increasing, poured over me in waves of flame. Then I sank into the depths, and I heard the King in Yellow whispering to my soul, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And that's how it ends. I think this answered all of my questions. Here's where the Minecraft video is very interesting. It's mentioned specifically in the video that at any point Durlord can just get off the game. He can turn it off. It's just a game. All of these people in this book can put the book down at any moment. Stop reading the play. They don't have to read Act 2. If you're criticizing this for being stupid because it takes place in Minecraft, you're missing the point. Instead of a play, The King in Yellow has adapted to a more modern medium for getting people into his realm, and that of course is Minecraft. Now, I'm not sure there's like a yellow sign anywhere in this video. I don't see anything obvious. Maybe just the entire world, you know, it makes him want to go farther until he stumbles upon the infinite knowledge, and we can only assume that he ended up in Carcosa with the King in Yellow. So honestly, searching for a world that doesn't exist is just another addition to the rapidly expanding world of the King in Yellow. I gotta do a little bit more research on where else the King in Yellow shows up, but I think it's like a lot of places I've stumbled across, so I'm gonna gather my thoughts and I'll get back to you. Okay, here we are with all of the questions answered. The biggest one being, what is the King in Yellow? Well, in short, the King in Yellow is an idea. This concept has been referenced in so many things. Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist, the first season of True Detective, a Stephen King novel, a couple of different H.P. Lovecraft pieces, and then Carcosa itself actually came from an entirely different short story from 1886 by a completely different author called An Inhabitant of Carcosa. I guess copyright didn't really exist back then the way it does today, or maybe they were just all friends in this weird little gothic horror cosmic horror circle. So the King in Yellow is this godlike entity that rules over the land of Carcosa, which is this eerie, haunting, desolate, possibly post-apocalyptic place where lost souls eventually end up. The King in Yellow has this infinite knowledge, and he just wants to share it with all of these lost souls. It's gonna make them lose their minds, but maybe that gives them some sort of power. Who knows? Anyway, the King in Yellow marks these lost souls with the yellow sign, and then he does something to lure them in to finding the infinite knowledge. For the characters in the book, that infinite knowledge comes from the play The King in Yellow, and the insanity/infinite knowledge seems to set in pretty slowly, with none of the characters going insane right away, and also none of them realizing every truth about the universe right away. Instead, the world just kind of slowly crumbles around them, and things start to look off until they realize that their fate is to end up in Carcosa with the King in Yellow. But for Durlord, in searching for a world that doesn't exist, instead of a play, the King in Yellow gets him through the medium of Minecraft. He realizes his fate and he tries to save the next person, Avery, from the same fate. And then this abandoned village that he found must have belonged to a group of people that had wanted to summon the king in order to get the infinite knowledge, but they were swept away to Carcosa in the process. And that's pretty similar to True Detective and how there was a cult of people devoted to the King in Yellow trying to get that infinite knowledge. So there you go. The King in Yellow is not named in Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist, but the bits and pieces you can gather from this book and also all the other media that it appears in tells you a lot about Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist, and it ties it all together super nicely. Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist is a great watch on its own, but now knowing the context of the unseen antagonist is also just super cool. And honestly, say what you will about it just being a Minecraft video, but I think that this was a great addition to the public domain King in Yellow lore. I really like that there's just this character that you can use in your art for free, and I love that they made a Minecraft video about it without even mentioning it, but everybody caught on to what it was. Well, that was a fun break from studying for finals, but if you want to see me reading some more old books, you can check out this video where I read 2 classics in one sitting. Otherwise, if you want to see me try to read more horror, you can check out this video. I can't promise that it goes super well, but like and comment and subscribe and all the good stuff. Okay, bye.